So, gentlemen, how you doing?
Good.
So, I think 45 minutes is a good time.
Yeah.
Let's not drag it too long. Let's see who talks.
Soak up these dad bods. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. So, as you can see the timer, I'm going to throw it right there because I hate going over all the time. So, what are we going to talk about today, man? So, we got some conspiracies? Well, I know, Jordo. I know. You and Eric, bro. Yeah.
I'm into it too.
Right now, this Ukraine shit. I mean, we got to talk about.
So that's what we're going with. Is Ukraine.
Okay.
I mean, it's happening right now. You know, what do we all think of it?
All right.
I think Putin has rabies. He got bit by a Marmaduke at some point.
All right.
And I think he's just lashing out at the world. I think somebody needs to photograph him. I think he's probably frothing at the mouth.
All right. So I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I have not, like, I kind of know what's going on, but I'm not like I was before, like super in it. And I'm not like super educated on it right now. So if you want to throw some facts at me and see what happens, all right, go for it, man.
So the world or everyone other than Russia is pretty much saying that Russia invaded Ukraine to get their cities that are mostly on the ports to gain more power. Mm-hmm. Also, we know that Ukraine has been asking to join NATO, and the problem with that is that if they become a NATO nation, all UN and NATO countries can put military in that space, meaning they'd point missiles at Russia.
Right.
And Russia warned for a long time, we don't want them ever to do it because we don't want missiles on our border. And I think Ukraine was getting approved for next year, I think it was, to be part of them. And Putin just said, boom, I'm going in on it. And
yeah, I heard he asked a lot of times.
Right, and the problem is Ukraine has some deep ties to American politicians. A lot of them do speeches there for fundraisers. Many people say they launder the money, like, for example, through that country, a la Biden and other people, Pelosi. So basically, they would put them on a board of a company, pay them millions of dollars, and then they would pay their relatives the portion. Anyway, long story short, U.S. and Ukraine are tight, and they're almost part of NATO, not yet. And we're telling we're going to help you, and all of a sudden Russia comes in, and literally the whole world turned their back. Like no country as of yet. I mean, there's right now breaking news, some on the Polish border, UN troops, but basically they're being invaded, and the whole world's watching, doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did notice that. So I was talking to one of the guys today, and he was telling me about it, that everybody turned their back on them, that nobody wanted to help them out, nobody wanted to do anything else. So that's why I'm like, I really don't know what's going on.
Well, Russia's putting everybody over a barrel. It's saying, he came out and what did he say? He said, I'm going to really show you what I can do. Mm-hmm. You've never seen what I can do.
So he threatened the world.
He told us the world.
The current
if somebody tries to interfere in what I'm doing, I'm going to hit you real hard. He said that. And we got to believe him because he's hitting. He's firing off. So what does that leave us to do? I mean, if we get involved, it could be catastrophic.
Yeah, so the current administration, first thing they did was cut the Keystone Pipeline in the U.S. That made us from being energy independent to not. Therefore, most of the world gets their oil from Russia, and Russia has the ability to turn the spigot on or turn it off. In essence, Germany did not help Ukraine because Germany needs their oil.
Of course.
If we were the biggest exporter of the United States, we'd be able to push away from Russia, but the current administration is going to go green. Therefore, anything oil was just cut. That's basically what's happened.
Yeah.
Under the guise of green. But this is planned out, and I'll tell you why. I'm thinking conspiracy theory now.
Right. All right.
NATO
I like where this is going.
New World Order, okay? The New World Order.
Wait, say that again?
NATO,
is
UN.
New World Order.
That's New World Order.
Okay.
And there are some resistors. There's always been some resistors. Saddam Hussein was a resistor. We saw what happened with them. North Korea, they're resistors. Yeah. Now, Gaddafi. We don't really care about North Korea as much, but Ukraine, we've been in bed with obviously forever. Hunter Biden paintings are selling for millions. Why? Because it's just fucking shaking hand money. It's under the table shit.
Big guy.
It's not really. They're not buying paintings. So they're in bed with us, and we just paid them $1 billion. And the issue is, if they go, that's a big takeaway power from Russia, and they know if that goes, we're going after Russia. China and America are on the same page.
Yeah, right. So that I know. The fact that if
you see right now, China's going after Taiwan.
That's what I was gonna say.
Totally unrelated.
Yeah,
right.
But
no, it's related.
Similar situation.
Yeah.
It's just
no, they're
Let's go ahead and just hit them real quick. so they could see
And-
what we can do power wise.
Mhm.
It's a good show off.
Right.
And then
And they know
we're the bad guys.
Yeah.
bro.
And the current administration doesn't. They're not active. They're very quiet. They're
Yeah.
low, you know.
I mean,
they're active.
we call Biden
dumb.
Beijing Biden. So we know he's compromised by Chinese. And when we had the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the first thing that happened when we were gone was China rolled right in, took over our bases, took over all of our equipment, and started they're mining out the rare earth minerals from Afghanistan. Strategically, it seems like a bit of a windfall, or maybe they paid for his campaign, and that's why he's in the White House. That's what I think. Because I believe it's a Chinese coup. I believe China believes it is going to rise to the next superpower, the next Rome, the next Greece.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, they just pay off everybody. They give $300 million to Harvard University, and then all of a sudden, our most prestigious university is pumping out just mentally destroyed, pink-haired whack jobs that want to argue. These are supposed to be our doctors and lawyers. These are supposed to be the Rhodes Scholars that become president, and they're coming out with.
Crazy
I think
stuff.
it's China. I think that's what I think. I think
Yeah.
they're using us to weaken America, and then I think the poke and the whole coup thing. I think that was another part of their coup to again weaken the middle class, weaken the small businesses, cripple the American economy, and then they rise because they're already a slave economy anyway. So it doesn't hurt them any to have their people locked down. That's what I think.
All right.
That is my contribution.
Where you at with your thoughts?
So honestly, dude, I haven't really.
It's not his topic.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I haven't really looked into because I've been so busy. Like you know how I normally am. Like I normally like start reading into stuff and I fall in a deep black hole.
Yeah.
And I just go into it and read everything.
It's not worth it.
But just lately, I've been so busy that I haven't had time to read any into it. So that's why I'm like,
it sure is like a bummer in everyone's life.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you just
100%.
you want to be stoked on American things, and you scroll through and you what can you not see? You hear baby screaming. You hear like you said you saw. You guys haven't seen it. There's a video where a tank is going this way and a car is coming this way.
Yeah.
The tank purposely steers over, crushes the car. And if you watch it, your heart's like,
it's crazy. It is crazy, dude.
Crazy thing part.
And they
is
said
that guy survived.
the Russian mentality in war is like none other. It's almost like the Japanese back in the day.
Oh, just like
they
kamikaze,
yeah, they're like Mother Russia. They
you
will
guys
die
seen
for the
that
country.
video
That's
clip
nuts.
where they show an American army? They show an American army ad and then a Russian army.
Oh, yeah.
ad. And the first one is like talking about these. There's nothing wrong with it, but this is our military.
Oh, I know
Talking about
exactly what you're talking about.
Two mother, like she has two mothers,
all
and they're getting
diversity.
married, and she's crying, and
Yes.
all this stuff, and it's like has nothing to do with being like a strong military force.
Right.
And that's a commercial. I don't get what the pill is to to tell us, hey, don't worry, we won't be able to kick your ass. We're too busy worrying about shit that's not really relevant to kicking your ass. And then you go to Russia and you see them and you're like, oh, we're fucked. I'm not going to be able to fight any of those people.
Yeah,
Can
no,
you
I saw.
guys?
I know exactly what ad you're talking about.
Metal
Yeah.
body armor and shit, and they're like, we're fucking gonna kill you and shit.
You
You know?
look at history, any type of Russian fighter, they're just tough people.
Yeah, where's
right?
where's
Russian,
where's
Ivan Drago.
where's Danilo when we need him,
Yeah,
bro?
right.
We need some Russians in here.
You've done like 15
But I mean, Russians are just tough people.
They are?
Yeah.
You know?
Climate.
They're like they DNA. They're just like
Well,
boom.
they
they're just,
grow
you
up in
know?
a brutal climate. I mean,
right.
you look at the Vikings, and you see them, you dig them out of the ground. They were not normal men. They were freaking
They were
huge.
humongous.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
huge. And because look where they lived. I mean, shit.
Now
those places
here's
were cold
one
as
interesting
hell.
fact. You're more of a history buff, but Russia, I believe, is geographically has the most time zones.
Oh, yeah. It's
in
like
one
12.
like 12 time
It's like
zones.
6,000
Really?
Imagine
miles
that.
across.
12. That's
yeah.
So that is like what 4 Americas, maybe 5.
Almost 3. It's
Almost
like
3.
two-
I mean, the size
two
of
and a half,
Russia, you
It's
can
huge.
imagine how big that country is. I mean,
Here's what's weird.
12 time zones. You
Yeah.
imagine? That's like 2 days. It's just insane.
Yeah, that so where are you going? Oh, I'm going across country. So you're gonna tell me? So I'll see you in like in a week? Like what? That is crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's how
like
big it is,
12
yeah.
time zones. It's a
That's
big.
crazy.
And a lot of it, all
Now-
those countries that were Ukraine and
Yep.
such were part of them. Romania, everything. So it was even bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
So now the thing with that is a lot of people don't know how close the U.S. is to Russia.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody, there's a place in Alaska that is 80 kilometers. Like you can see Russia.
50 miles.
Right.
Yeah, you can see Russia from across the water. So people are like, because if you're looking at a map of the United States, everybody goes to the right towards the East Coast.
Right.
So if you go that route, you have to go all the way around.
Right.
But if you go the other route, it's right there.
It's right there.
And hence, Eric, you're more historian. I don't know what year we took Alaska, but that's
65.
60. We did that strategically.
Yeah. Oh, it was
to be able to keep an eye on.
It was brilliant.
On Russia.
A lot of oil reserves up there.
I mean, that's Alaska's big for the United States.
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
It is the biggest state.
It's the fallback spot. If America collapses, you go to Alaska.
It has everything.
Nobody
it
has
has
the
wildlife.
balls to survive.
It has oil,
fish.
I mean, it's got it all. It does have it all.
It does.
Sounds like heaven for you, Eric.
It
right?
does. Yeah, with his beard. Yeah. That's the stretch goal. Yeah.
They pay you to live there.
They do.
Yeah.
You can be like what's that one famous
Duck
family
Dynasty.
the family that was living off the wild, but they were making a bunch of money off Discovery Channel.
Yeah, there was an Alaska one, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Like
where
Wild Alaska or something.
something like that, where they were like a family living out in Alaska, and everything they did, like they didn't pay for, like it was a barter, or they would work for it, and then the stuff would get traded, and then they ended up getting exposed. Like, these guys got money.
Yeah.
Like
They're in the Ritz-Carlton, like
Ritz-Carlton,
getting pedicures and stuff.
yeah, like the Discovery Channel is giving you like X amount of $1,000 an episode.
Pawn Stars.
Right.
Chumlee. Is he dead?
No, bro, he's a cool dude, man.
Oh, is he cool?
So, I've met him a few times. He's such a cool dude. Super humble.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he lost a lot of weight. Something that we got to do.
we all turned to look
Hell
at
yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
What? Interesting fact. Well, listen. I was gonna say, no, the thing that happened for the last couple of years, the biggest impact in the environment was the average American, gained 25 pounds.
I believe it.
Some people gain 4, some people gain 50, but can you imagine the average 20? And the masks actually were worst thing for the environment ever. Ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Ever.
There's masks
everywhere.
Yeah, I go to the grocery, just like the other day. We went to the grocery
They're
store.
like cigarette butts.
Dude,
worse.
they were all over the floor, and I was telling him, I'm like, yo, dude, like check this out.
And people
I'm like,
still
how can you take something off to protect you, but just throw it on the ground, like
Right.
Well,
like,
I
don't
don't
understand
You digged in your car.
Yeah.
And like, oh fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like something that has cookie crumbs and
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
And breathing that shit out.
Yeah.
Like that's not healthy.
Not at all.
Well, I will say the healthiest thing to happen from the thing that happened was the first 2 weeks when Charles was like, all right, we're shutting shit down for 2 weeks just for the curve.
Yeah.
And then, it turned into this goddamn madness. But those 2 weeks, I heard a lot of reports about nature.
Oh yeah,
coming back.
Yeah.
Like
quickly.
Huge bounce.
Really?
Oh, huge! Like they said, the amount of rainforest and foliage and it was insane. And they said the smog
Animals were coming into the cities.
Yeah, and smog in China was the cleanest it was.
Yeah,
it said in
crazy.
decades.
Los
So
Angeles.
Yeah.
right, and what I would have thought would have been a brilliant thing. All they had to say was, "Let's have the thing." Every year we stay home for 2 weeks, clean it all out, and as like a remembrance. Those who lost from the thing and all that, that would be
weeks off from work. Stay home with your friends and family.
and it would be a bonding. It would turn
right.
It'd be something
Put it
that
in March.
right.
We look forward to it, and it's our time of peace.
Right at
Everyone
spring.
get together,
Christmas.
we could smoke weed,
Yeah.
hang out, fucking.
drugs.
Yeah.
Maybe they should
family
be like
time, family time,
Family
yeah.
time.
an
Yeah.
electricity turn
Like
off.
what's
They
the
turn off
hardest?
Wi-Fi. They turn
What's
off
the hardest
electricity.
thing in the world? Right, the hardest thing in the world is Jordan. You could speak this. 'Cause you have a family. Is that having family time? So imagine this, mind blowing. We spend so much money on bullshit. We have our military budget is 3 times the size of the next 8 countries below us. If they just said everyone's getting paid 2 weeks by the government to remember the thing.
Yeah.
and
Oh, that'd
clean
be
up the
awesome.
vitamin, that'd be sick.
It'd be great.
So
That's
I'm
We
gonna
look
tell you
forward
something.
to it.
So when everything shut down, obviously my parents were at home and everything. So at first we were just careful and everything, but then it got to the point that we're like, yo, like every night we were having a family dinner. Like even though we don't live together, like every night my sister and I would go to my parents' house. We would have dinner with my parents, and it got to a point that my dad's like, man, I really like this. I can get used to it. So now that my mom's retired, my dad still works, so we try to do that every weekend with my parents. Like in reality, we try to do it as much as we can, but we try to do it at least every weekend so we can still have that family vibe and that
That's
bonding.
great.
So
Pausing is huge.
Yeah.
Pausing is huge. You really should. I had a I had a dispute with my old boss, and I lost the war, so to speak.
Don't worry, so did I.
And it was hard, man. But really, I love that time, man. I went to Idaho. I haven't been to Idaho in so long. I was able to drive to Utah, see a lot of friends and family, drive to Idaho, come back. I had so much time to spend with the family, and that pause really reset my brain and allowed me to come into this new environment, completely different, and I feel more successful because I was able to have that and then always in that rat race of stuff. That's when you get into that. It's so hard because they put blinders on you.
That's what I was gonna say. So when it comes down to it, it's so good for your mental health too, because we are in such a hurry all the time, and we are in such a workhorse mode. Then when we do get a little bit of time off, we're like, man, what's going on? Right. This feels weird. You know, so it is a good thing to be able to have that pause.
And if you look in the 50s and the 60s, it was a normal thing. Yeah. Everyone would be home for dinner, and then afterwards you go out. And then as the inflation, things got more expensive. You had to have both family, husband, wife, both had to work. Yeah. Kids had daycare, whatever it is, and all of a sudden things got more expensive. Yeah. Therefore, more work, more hours, and that kind of fell apart. And then people would drift away. So, and then now with the smartphones and this, and kids are taking Ubers.
TVs in every room.
Yeah, and kids are taking Ubers. I guess 15-year-olds, some of them take Ubers, whatever it is.
My kids are on tablets,
my family fell apart.
Yeah.
Right then. My family was very close when we were kids.
Yeah.
We never had TV in the house, and then my dad started making money, and we had TVs in every room, and stopped having dinner together. To this day, he knows I literally never talk to my family. Just because we're not close because of that. Yeah.
So one thing I hate seeing is when you're out with people just in general, and there's a family eating, and the kid starts fussing and crying. So the first thing they do is they hand that kid an iPad.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That drives me up the wall. You do that?
Because
it
makes it quiet. Parent, holy shit!
Right.
You have to do that.
But
that's a problem. I know.
You are different.
What do you mean?
Your kids are they're special needs kids, and I feel like for you,
it's for every family. I'm telling you, every friend of a parent that I have, dude, it's one of those things. It's like McDonald's.
Yeah.
When they first have McDonald's, it's over.
Yeah, it's done.
And then they have a big red fucking M on every goddamn corner.
Yeah.
And
they're gonna want it.
Meal,
yeah.
And you got to go do it. So that's the thing. They first get on your iPhone, whatever. Now, I will say, just like our parents were dicks to us about playing video games and shit, look at what you're running right now. You know what I mean?
I know.
That started from a love of technology, right? And so it is healthy to learn stuff because you'll be left behind.
Of course.
We aren't going to live the life of an Amish person. We'll live the life of neo-technology.
I look the part, and I would.
I know you would like that.
Well, yeah.
I'll milk that.
Right.
Whatever the hell you milk.
So
not even 1,000%.
with me, the thing is the parents that, because it's fine to do it from time to time. That I'm not saying that never let your kid do it. But when they use the tablet or their phone as a babysitter, so that the parent doesn't get bothered, that's when at a point I'm like, come on, man, and then when the kids grow up, they get mad because that's all they know how to do,
right?
And that's all they know how to do is just be on the phone or be on the internet, and they're not social.
They're totally overstimulated. We were super stimulated. ADHD happened in my lifetime.
Yeah,
and it happened probably. I was diagnosed ADHD at 11, and it was my parents would come in all the time, and the teachers would talk shit on me. And then finally, one lady was like, when it happened, that ADHD was a thing. She's like, "Hey, all the teachers agreed Jordan has ADHD for sure.
Really?
Let me show you some evidence." He'd go, "Okay, we're all on this book. This is the one Jordan's had. This is a book from last year, and you can see that every single page here has a dinosaur drawing on it, and that's all he's been doing."
That I believe. Yeah, that I believe you drawing dinosaurs.
To this day,
I
could draw the gnarliest dinosaur.
Oh, I know, I've seen it.
I can't draw anything else, but I.
You can definitely do.
He had the reps. He put the reps.
As an autistic,
Gotcha.
I stimmingly drew that every day.
Yeah.
So, long story short. was that a product of just stuff that's coming in through processed foods or whatever, or was it a product of nature, new video games or things like that, or just more stimulating
your body? I don't know, like. So every time I see something about like with kids with autism and stuff like that, or they're getting bullied or whatever the situation is, it bothers me, man, because it makes me think, like, I have friends with kids that have autism. I have you with your kids have autism,
my kids,
and I send you messages, and I send them to you all the time, and I'm like, dude, like, if I was there, like, I don't care how old that teenager is, I'd be whooping his ass.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, remember the one I sent you?
Yeah.
And I was like, that is not, like, bro, like, it breaks my heart, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it was just a normal
I don't know what it's coming from, but there's more cases than ever before.
Yeah.
It's like 1 in 6, dude.
What, autism?
It's like 1 in 6.
Yeah.
It used to be 1 in 400.
And then
before that, it was like
thousands.
1 in 1,000.
Wow.
I read some things. Some people say it's akin to flu shots. Mm-hmm. Some say it has to do with the red
gut.
food dyes and the yellow food dyes.
That's probably
early. A lot of people.
Dyes.
I have a theory about this. So,
Uh-oh.
So most babies get the gut bacteria from nursing from their mother. Right? I learned that, and that's where all the chemicals that your brain runs on that actually formulates your brain. So what happens is a lot of these kids, they have ear infections. They get on penicillin. Kills the gut bacteria. They never get that good gut fauna. They're not being nursed by their mothers. So their guts all is in shambles. So the brain doesn't develop correctly, and that's what I think is
interesting.
And they say that the vaccines, not the vaccine, but the other vaccines,
just in general,
they attack the gut. And when you attack the gut, that's your immune system comes from there. Your food's digested there. That's what happens.
Yeah,
my sister's schizophrenic, and she, same thing. Ear infections her whole life. She's on penicillin her whole life. She just was never totally normal. And then she just went off the freaking deep end, And it's
my
from
brother's schizophrenic too.
Yeah.
He just got diagnosed.
Yeah,
really.
He's an absolute crazy person. He literally is. Dude, last time we were hanging out.
And it's not understood.
I was trying to smoke with him and hang out and be cool because we had a big fight like a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to like be cool with him. It's like our first time hanging out for a minute. And he's talking about like, dude, I gotta watch out though. The FBI like watching me. And then I used to work in the CIA and shit.
Oh yeah.
He's saying,
I have a friend like that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I bet.
It's sad.
Off the wall
it's bipolar.
And then he went to a mental hospital. And they did evaluations. And they're like, you have schizophrenia.
That is crazy.
And it's not understood. And that's the crazy thing. So my sister, she's schizophrenic, right? I mean, same thing. There's satellite dishes on the Waffle House. That's what she always believed. And she'd like, look, you don't see it? And I'm like, no, man, I don't see it. Nothing there. But it's terribly sad. But now I've really lost my train.
Do you think she really sees it?
Yes. Yeah, she says.
So the brain is actually,
Yeah.
The brain processes it.
Yeah, there's two types of. So your brain, the thing that controls your eyes, there's two different parts. One that controls where you can do this, and then the other one, I can't remember what it is. But anyway, it controls another way the eye focuses. And people who are schizophrenic, the other part of the eye is what does all the focus. And basically what happens is they see something, and then the imagination starts filling stuff. And that's what I think.
Really?
Yeah. She would get way out there, but it would always be on a topic that she knew. So she's basically hallucinating while.
Yeah, I have a college buddy,
Yeah,
and he was told me this was, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago. I used to be friendly with the former owner of the Venetian, Michelle Nadelson.
This guy.
And this guy.
Look at this guy.
And
not to name drop, but just to let you know.
He was what, the 12th richest man in the world at the time. But anyway,
but he wasn't in the top 10. So
close. Anyway, so
broke ass wasn't in the top 10 richest person in the world. Get out of here, man. We don't want to talk to him then.
Anyway, so the thing, my friend who's schizophrenic called me and said, "Hey, I ran into Sheldon last week. He said say hi to you." And I'm like, obviously the guy's been dead for a year. I haven't responded to him. So it's like, so you're just like, and he's just, it's sad because he doesn't realize he has it. Mm-hmm. Like about 2 years ago, he had a real bad episode. Yeah. He said Donald Trump was telepathically talking to him through his brain, and he was in charge of the military, and you just, you have to.
Military.
But the scary thing about this is they genuinely believe it. They genuinely
that's a great segue to what is real right the fuck
Okay.
now, because
Yeah.
I always, anytime I hear a piece of news,
Right.
I just cough it out like I have Tourette's.
Right.
Oh, bullshit. Every single time. Every time I hear a piece of news
Yeah.
I
about
basically
the
form
thing
my
opinion.
or something,
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
whatever
like,
the
oh,
news
that's not
says,
true.
I
at
do
all.
the opposite. So
That's
the
all.
news
Exactly.
is like they're all
And the
about
government,
Ukraine.
too.
Right.
News and government is
They're
the
like,
same.
oh, we support Ukraine. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm supporting Russia. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on, but
Right.
Russia's probably the right
You
one.
almost
I'm-
know.
So now
we'll
let me ask
find
you
out
this.
we're right.
All right, so if we're gonna jump to conspiracy,
Okay.
Yes.
all right, and we're talking about schizophrenia and the
Yes.
fact
Is
that
it just a rebellious thing?
No.
no.
Or are
So
we
hear me
really-
out. Hear me
yeah.
out. We're talking. You mentioned Trump being telepathic with your friend.
Right.
Probably.
Have you heard of the Donald Trump being a time traveler? I know you've heard it.
No.
I know Jordan. I know you've heard
It's
it.
really interesting.
It
Do
is
you know the
crazy.
details?
Huh?
Never
Tell
heard
us-
that.
I
spill the
don't know.
truth.
I don't know the exact details because I know something you sent me.
Okay, I'll kind of break it. I don't know
Because
exactly
everything
either.
on the internet is true.
No, this is real. There is a book.
Yeah, there's screenshots too of like
It's
the
an
Reddit
actual
post.
book
Okay.
that was written
Reddit post. There we go.
100 years ago. Okay? And in this book, it talks about Trump is like the son, something Trump, and then it's got Trump's actual son is like the
Barron.
dad, like Barry, whatever.
Barron.
And it talks about him doing all these things, and they line up with Trump everywhere. You should find it and just let's read that real quick.
So you're
Well,
saying
basically,
that's what I'm trying to
Trump
look.
Is
So
like if
I think
you
it's-
had a daydream about what
Just
a rich guy
Trump
would do, it
Time
would be
traveler
Trump.
book or something.
Wait,
Oh, yeah,
are you saying
we
that Donald
own
Trump
this America
himself?
pageant.
But are you saying Donald Trump
No.
himself
Is it
traveled?
time travel?
Nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Yeah, it has nothing to do.
It's a
so-
family.
Except
Yeah,
the
so
book
this is the
has
cover.
Everything written.
So this is
about
the
Trump.
cover for it.
Okay. And what's the name of the book?
That's what I think
Oh.
it's a Marvelous Underground Journey. Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground.
Oh.
Yeah, Barron. Okay.
Yeah,
Barron's
yeah.
the son. So
Yeah.
he wrote.
That's an awesome name.
So he wrote the
This
book.
is 100 years old.
What do you mean?
So then
the
there's
book
the-
was written 100 years
When was
ago.
this
Yeah.
book written?
So then there's this one too. This one is from the 1900s.
Okay.
The Last President,
Oh wow.
and it.
Woo, okay.
Yeah.
The last
dude.
one that was elected.
Go to the details.
legally.
Go-
So let me see. What did I say it was called?
Being
The. Here we go. Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground
Wow.
Journey.
Ha-
1890.
Okay.
Wow.
So we
It
know
was
obviously
written 18
Barron
years.
is like 14, so we know he wasn't
It's an
not
extra
110 years
generation.
It's about the
old.
last president.
Okay.
What does it have? Some detail? Go to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. What is it?
I'm sure you'll see it.
I
on
feel like it's the Mandela
Oh.
effect.
So no. Now hear me out on this one though.
Yeah.
With here we go. Marvelous Journey in 1893. The novels recount adventures of German boy Wilhelm Heinrich Sebastian von Trump,
A good German name.
who goes by Baron Trump. As discover weird underground civilization, offends the. I lost where I was reading.
That is
Not
interesting.
now.
Scientists are saying that the Earth's. Haven't had a chance to read it yet. But
Yeah.
they're saying it's not solid. It's like some kind of.
We're like July.
Yeah,
Some
so
kind
and
of, did you see that?
with the giants, right? The entrance, it's in like what is it, Antarctica or something like that?
Something like that. Well,
Yeah.
Antarctica, surprisingly, is the second largest, I guess,
Landmass.
country
Country.
by
Flat Earthers believe
yeah.
What's
that.
a
only
continent?
Russia,
It's a continent.
right, but Russia
It's a country
bigger,
and
Yeah.
a
but it's almost the same size as Russia. It's enormous.
Flat Earthers
Operation.
believe that it's actually just a wall.
Right,
Yeah.
it's not, but it's a place. But there really was was it Operation High Jump? I'm just starting to get off into this stuff, where basically the Nazis fled there and started
Oh, hidden
deep
inner
underground
side tunnel,
military
yeah.
base. Yeah,
There
No, they
is-
actually went to
is an
Argentina.
agreed-
That's a couple
right.
conspiracies.
Well, yeah, but
So
they
yeah,
found-
so wait, so let's go
Okay.
back to the time traveling one.
Okay.
Because it really caught my attention, especially the article that he had sent me
Yeah.
once. Well, it wasn't an article, it was a Reddit post. But the way it was written, and it was written back in like 2007 or 2008, and it was describing everything that happened 2018. Like
Got it.
to the T, but and it's crazy. Like everything's time stamped, and everything can be changed or whatever on the
Right.
internet. But it was pretty interesting. Then, being the
Sleuth?
conspiracy that I am, I went on YouTube
Yeah.
and I just started watching a bunch of videos, and they were saying how the Trump family is the one that was that took over the Tesla files, and then Nikola Tesla was the one that was working on a time machine.
Okay.
His
So-
grandfather.
Yeah, so what is
Interesting.
it, John Trump or something like that?
Yeah.
John Trump was the one that was in charge of recovering all the files
Oh.
from Nikola Tesla's apartment or
Yeah.
Ooh,
or
that
condo
is
or whatever.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he came in and he said there was nothing. And then, the FBI and everybody came in.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, we didn't find anything. But he's the one that went in first.
Yeah.
Got it.
So they're saying, he went in and he took,
all the files.
he took all the files. And, I was like, man, that is crazy. So
That is interesting.
yeah, dude. So like I said, once you fall in a black hole on YouTube or stuff like that,
Let me channel my inner Alex
we
Jones.
got to talk about QAnon.
Oh, hold on.
Hey, no, what is it?
QAnon.
What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and real life?
What, like 6 months?
About 6 months.
About 6 months.
All right. So look, QAnon.
All right, what is that?
Might
Controlled
not
opposition.
Be, well, let's
Controlled
go to what
opposition.
the definition is.
Okay, so
it's basically somebody who has a Q clearance, and
Which is above top secret.
which is super top secret stuff, and they're on 4chan and 8chan, and they're putting out posts, but they're very,
and let me say
secretive.
that's not unusual. So everybody knocks 4chan because if I want
So is 4chan still up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
politically incorrect is up, and there's always predictions, the Red Deer prophecy, but they're usually wrong. However, there really was a post before the Vegas shooting, just by a couple days. They said, hey, to all my Anons in Vegas, stay away from crowds, and if you see a couple black vans parked next to each other, get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And the shooting happened a couple days later.
Huh.
So people really do post stuff that's real on there.
Yeah,
So it's gonna happen. It's
But
gonna be
it's
real
in
stuff.
the midst of all the shit.
Yeah.
Here-
So
here's what it is.
you got to find a needle in a haystack
Exactly.
with that. But then,
That's why I always share it, because you never know.
yeah. So
I always
because you got
just keep
two
an eye on
options.
this.
You
Yeah.
got either the reality,
Yeah.
and then you got Alex Jones with gay frogs.
Right. Turn into freaking frogs, gay!
so we know that 9/11 was an inside job
Yeah,
for
we know
sure.
that.
Yeah. Skipping around. Let's pick one.
And
I know, man.
And so no, just so
We gotta have
just
another
just
episode later.
You know that reference. So we know for this long there's always been super big corruption and everything they're trying to do. There's always top level of people, and they're actually trying to do different things, but selling it from some other angle, but not what they truly want, right? So we then we started finding out, what are these guys actually like? The elite. They are bored. They have all the money in the world. What are they doing? They're doing what they've been doing since the beginning of time, always searching for the fountain of youth. The fountain of youth ends up being adrenochrome. And we found out that this is a real thing. They have been torturing people for years, getting fear blood, and the better the blood comes from the younger the person.
Yeah.
It's an evil thing, but it's been going around since the beginning of time. They used to go on hunting parties and hunt people and then drink their blood afterwards, all through Europe, everywhere.
Hence, that's
that's real.
Right, and
so what we think is QAnon, we're like, there's good guys.
Right.
There really is good guys. Oh, they're coming to the rescue. They say, hey, wait. Just wait. Don't. We got it. Don't wait. Have faith. Have faith. They did that shit to us for 5 fucking years.
Yeah. Right.
And we sat
Controlled
on the
opposition.
sidelines.
Yeah.
So it was controlled.
Well, let me
was.
okay.
It
So
was
let me
kinda-
explain
it
what I
was-
mean
it
by
was
that.
taken
So
over.
when the Bolsheviks took over in Russia and they
Yeah.
started killing tens of millions of people, Gulag Archipelago, that's what woke me up. That's what woke me up to communism. My grandpa had the volumes. I want these giant volumes. I love to read. I read them, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I understood exactly what he was saying. But anyway, the Bolsheviks, when they were in power, they actually funded their own opposition. So the people that were opposed to the Bolsheviks sided with the opposition, and then they rounded them all up and killed them, and that's what they did.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I believe that QAnon is exactly that. I
Right,
believe that he, whatever it is, it was designed to, there's Guantanamo Bay and there's this and that. No, really, we're past the point of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're at almost to the Ceausescu point in time. We're not there yet because people are comfortable enough, but we're getting
Can
there.
you embellish on that?
Oh, okay, well,
That's-
when we look at
Yeah.
Romania,
It's getting him riled up, huh?
Well, no, I'm trying to get. He's throwing out countries and revolutions. I'm not as. He's
okay,
really brilliant with that
Ceausescu
stuff.
Oh, I know.
Was
Yeah.
Romania. So
Right.
he was a socialist, and the United States propped Romania up and Ceausescu up. And because he was working a kind of communism, socialism are just kind of different stages of the same thing. But anyway, but he was a socialist and he was kind of at odds with Russia. But anyway, so we propped him up, and meanwhile, the people in Romania, as always happens in socialism, they starved. And eventually things got so bad that as communism's falling all around the world, this jackasses up there giving a speech in front of a crowd, and the people were starving, and they were so hungry, people would flee Romania into other countries, and they would pay a bounty for people to hunt them down, kill them, and bring them back. So what people were doing is they were so hungry they would drag people across the border, kill them, bring them back for the reward.
Oh
wow.
Yeah, that's how bad it was. So
Wow.
anyway, it got so bad that finally the people said, you know what? I'd rather die than live like this. And so they busted into the building when he was giving a speech. And this idiot's up there in shock. Like, what's happening? And they dragged him out in the street, tied him up, him and his wife, and shot him. And the video's on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Wonderful. Yeah. It's great. Nothing I love more than a
So the
than a good
people overtook the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, and
Now,
I mean-
you get to a point where there's no, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, let's talk about it. We're not going so far, man. Look at Canada right now.
Yep.
Well, that's
Look,
what I'm
look
saying.
at Canada with the
And
the
sometimes you can
freedom
win.
train.
proud of fucking
Iceland.
Canada.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Iceland just 10 years ago, when the Great Reset or Great Recession happened, just using pots, because of course nobody has weapons
Yeah.
anywhere else in the world. That's why you can't flee from America anywhere. But anyway, they did with pots. They just bang on pots and they overthrew their whole government.
Yeah.
But we're way past that. They have done so much to us, and we haven't done anything back. That they just have no
and
fear.
you could almost say QAnon movement was
Yeah.
anti-government in a positive way, not
Right.
But,
Well, it was there
and
to
it
be
boiled
held,
over.
and just like you said,
But the
sit on the
FBI
side.
got
trust
involved.
the plan,
Right, and
trust the
And
plan.
they did counterintelligence, and they did
Yeah,
January
COINTELPRO.
6th.
right,
Well,
exactly.
first of all, they stole the fucking election. Like,
Obviously.
Like, stole it. We all
Now-
went to bed. We were like,
Yeah, all right,
Trump
it's
won.
over.
fuck yeah. The good guys won. Thank God.
And
All
then
right,
all of a
going to
sudden-
sleep, guys.
Yeah.
And then it does this. What does it
Opposite.
do? You
Yeah.
invest, right? When you
Yeah.
go into Coinbase and you
Yeah.
put money in,
Yeah.
what does the graph look like? Does
Yeah.
it go?
Yeah, like exactly.
Up straight.
Yeah.
It instantly jumps from one to a.
That's the
You
only
won
way
like
it happens.
99% of
When you
the
make
remaining.
a deposit. You
Yeah.
make a deposit, and that's why I did that.
Right, and you know what's interesting is if you look at when Trump beat Hillary, all the Democrats came out and said Russia did it, illegitimate,
yep.
hacked things, all fake voting, all that. It was all. They said it was you should have seen. They made a clip of it. Almost every senator, every congressman. Now it's the other way, and the Republicans are saying, "Look, fixed election.
Right.
Oh, that doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
No,
It's
that
never
doesn't
the
happen
safest
in this
election
country.
ever. All the this
Yeah.
video will now. I don't know if this is on YouTube, but it's going to now have all the elections are safe and it's
Did you
rigged.
see my
It's
meme?
bad.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you mail in a president.
But I mean,
By
they
the time
And then
admitted
you get a president off wish.com.
and
That's
all
what
of the
happens. You
court
get Biden.
cases that happened were hushed. Like they admitted that one state had 30,000 dead people voted.
Yeah.
Another state, they had one guy was arrested for voting in 15 different areas.
That is crazy.
And, right? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And
The
they'll have it
dead
all.
vote Democrat.
Yeah.
They had the video in Atlanta of them pulling out. You tell me when to go home and pulling out
Pulling out
bins of votes
the-
and putting it all in. They have
Well,
no what else?
a leaking pipe. Shut the
Yeah.
whole thing down. There's no leaking
There's no
pipe.
leaking pipe.
There's no leaking
They
pipe.
also had two other things. They had.
I think it's funny, let 'em all burn.
They had a thermostat, like a Nest thermostat, that had Wi-Fi and was sending signals back and forth. And they had all the data. They ignored that, like how that happened. And interesting is, I forgot what city specifically, but they had thousands of votes that literally looked Xerox because all it had was President
Yes.
Biden and no other
Yeah, nothing
election.
else was
Nothing.
done.
It was
Not
just
one
that
was
one
selected,
only,
Yeah.
just that
like
one.
the same one. It was like perfectly in
I
and
heard
whatever it is. And and it was like
China.
yeah.
China.
That's
where
what it
it's
was.
from.
That's what I'm
They-
saying.
they did it.
Beijing Biden. That's his nickname. Who do you
They are
think's
the ones
responsible?
that did that.
China.
We're not-
This is
we don't
how do
have
you
the
conquer a
technology.
country like the United States? You take over a political party. You pay them
Exactly.
all off. It's very simple.
and-
easy. And then you just keep doing things that weaken America and build them up.
And what they're
Man, so it's
stress-
safe to say that you guys are pretty conservative, eh?
Yeah. well, what they're stressing though,
Less
they're
government.
stressing that
We've all established
asking for ID to vote
Is
is
racist.
racist. Now, however, there's a list of almost everything. If you got to cash a check, you need ID. If you get on, if you get any type of
You want the vax.
no, that you got to get. If you want to check out a book at a library,
Yeah.
you need
Yeah,
some
you
sort
need
of
a library card.
You need some, but in
There
general,
are
I've
like-
never heard
You wanna-
anything
their
more
argument-
racist than saying only white people are able to get IDs.
Right, and that's what I'm
Hell,
saying.
racist.
Here we
That's what
go.
I'm saying.
So
That is
you-
the most racist thing. Imagine being like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said the highest form of racism is a person telling another person,
Right.
you need me to protect you. Like
Yeah.
there's something wrong. No,
No.
what?
Yeah,
the
I can
hell
protect
are you
myself.
talking
you
about?
So
don't
the
need to
crazy
drive.
thing-
You get a state ID.
Yeah,
Yeah, you get a state
in Mexico,
Yeah.
you actually have a voter's ID.
Yeah.
Like in Mexico, you need a voter's ID to go vote.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy.
You need
But
that
I'm like-
everywhere. Yeah. It's
Yeah, but-
very serious. They take their voting very
Every
serious.
country
Go
but us.
figure. But it's racist when we do. It's racist when we secure a border. But meanwhile, Mexico has some of the strictest, southern border.
Right.
Yeah.
Because God knows what could come across. And it's totally okay. But it's racist when we do it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right.
Dude, but I'm really
Man, we
proud
went
of
straight on a
Canada.
tangent
Yeah.
somewhere.
I-
Yeah. I don't
we-
know. Where did this start?
yeah.
Look, I have some Canadian neighbors.
Yeah.
I know Canadians.
Yeah.
But I worked for a company called TELUS.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were a Canadian call center. They
Yeah.
have, it's like their CenturyLink. And I talk
Yeah.
to Canadians every day for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Nice people.
Dude, I love Canadians.
Super
Love
nice.
'em.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, eh?
you always think of them as just kind of liberal pushovers. They like their universal health care and whatever.
Some of them are like us.
When we saw, I didn't know.
A lot.
Oh yeah.
But when they
I knew
all
a guy that
showed
was in
up, and
Canadian
then they
Special
started,
Forces.
they didn't just show up and sit in
He
freaking
rode
cars.
mooses.
They made many little amusement parks for their kids.
Right.
They were in spas and hot tubs. I mean, they were making a really fun time
Yeah.
in front of the fucking parliament.
Oh, yeah,
building or
eh?
whatever.
Yeah.
They had,
And-
yeah.
Like
for those-
making it their house.
Yeah,
And
they
for
had
those who
saunas.
don't, if you want, those who don't know what started Canada and what started the roadblock, Eric, you want to explain exactly specific? What do you mean? It's because they were telling Canadians, if you don't get the shot, then you can't go to a grocery store.
Right.
You can't go to regular. Unlike
So they were trying to California, Canada.
but yeah, exactly. But it was in California though. They did allow you to. Some of them allowed you to go to certain spots if you had a positive or sorry, negative test, rather. But I think in Canada it was no. You either have it, or you don't. And they drove. I think it was up to 45 miles long of car, and then the president came out, or the prime minister. Was it prime minister?
The prime minister,
Prime
yeah.
Minister, Trudeau.
Hold on, let me sit like Trudeau.
Right, Trudeau. I know exactly.
We're not going to use gendered
Right.
language.
Yeah, and
on,
even though
man.
Trudeau's been in blackface
Right,
and all
of
sorts of
course.
horrible
Of
things.
course.
Why don't they say anything about that,
I
bro?
know.
Like,
Using
how many
twice, I
times
think
have
twice.
they? Yeah,
Yeah,
like he did blackface, but nobody wants to talk about it. Like, what?
Is it
Right.
liberal?
I
How
know.
is that not
I know,
racist?
I know.
For seeing
If
my
Trump,
blackface.
if they and Trump never did black, right? Trump's the most racist person. Never seen blackface.
Yeah.
Never seen
that would have
blackface.
come out. That would have
Yeah.
come out if
Lowest
he had
black
it.
unemployment.
Yeah,
But I have seen him on a lot of rap videos and a lot of rap songs.
and they
Right.
shot him out in rap songs.
and on
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg on his roast.
That's
Nelly,
funny, bro.
Nelly, one of Nelly's songs has
Yeah.
Trump. Anyway,
Obama said the American dream is to be Donald Trump.
so yeah, yeah.
That's pretty.
But
good
anyway,
shout-out.
more interesting. So anyway, that turned to a big movement,
Yeah.
and it got to be so crazy that if you as a Canadian donated money
Oh, yeah.
to that, they froze your bank account.
Yep.
They
What?
froze your bank.
Yeah.
So let's say you.
So if-
yeah,
go ahead.
You know, you liked a person, or you liked to move, and you wanted to help out kids or something, and you send money, and they say, well, we don't like that. Froze your bank account. They said it was anti-government.
Whoa! Like, well, I guess that's Canada. I was gonna say because that right here would be.
They shut down the whole GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
See,
went
tried
on
to
a
seize the
religious
money.
And they tried to
called
give the money.
Go-
Yeah.
They tried to give the money. Yeah. And
So
then
they-
everybody
Yeah,
wants.
they tried to take the money to a charity of their choice.
So
It was
GoFundMe
gonna
said no.
Just be a fucking
Right.
funnel, obviously. And then
was
they
like
said,
12
then they
million.
did the
Well,
they did
the amount they raised
did
was
the
more than their
Christian
political
one called
parties
Go
did.
Send
Right.
Go or Go Send. It's a
Yeah.
Christian one that's totally not GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And they went in and froze that.
Yeah.
So anybody that was helping the Freedom Train or whatever,
yeah.
Was
they
considered domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, dude,
But-
it's nuts.
Yeah.
Were there riots in no, there was no riots
No.
in Canada.
But
right?
here's
No.
what they're not talking about. They're scared. They turned those trucks around. They're headed to Washington.
Yeah.
I saw that.
They're headed to
I
Washington.
saw that.
That is
And that I support because I've always said it, man. If it wasn't for truck drivers, we
Yeah.
wouldn't have shit.
right.
Yeah.
Truck
I mean,
drivers run this
Backbone of
country.
America.
They're the backbone.
Yeah.
They're the what is it, the highway cowboy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, without
They're
truckers,
actually
shout
good
out to all the
people that
truckers.
Look out for
Yeah.
human traffickers.
Yeah.
They're really like
They're good
watching
people.
the
Yeah.
road.
Salt
I've
of the
heard
earth
some
people.
Really
Salt
great
of earth
thing.
people.
Yeah.
Salt of the earth.
Oh yeah.
I think they did a really
WD-40.
good job. What I liked is when they said, "Hey, anybody catch you?" Because they share a lot of shit, and I love the Canadian "fuck you." They said, "Hey, anybody get caught carrying a gas can
I saw
or
that.
diesel is going to jail." And
Yeah.
then I saw
Or bring
thousands of people
Yeah.
carrying them.
Just
Some
the
were
empty.
empty,
Some
were-
had fuel.
Just as a big.
Or
fuck
if you bring
you.
food, right? Food, blankets,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Like
So I did see that, and then did you see that
And the truck- and
overnight?
the tow truckers.
Yeah. Suddenly they all had that
They
seat
came
thing.
and parked. The tow truckers that they sent.
Yeah. Well, they said they all had COVID.
They
so
all
they
parked in.
Who the media makes fun of, the My Pillow guy. They think he's the worst guy in the world, but you got to listen. He was dropping pillows down to those people.
Really?
He hired a plane to drop pillows down.
That's hilarious.
Seriously.
I mean, it's cool that I love seeing. Look,
grassroots.
Are we? We'll go back to the point of: are we schizophrenic or just really rebellious? Because that's kind of what I see. Like when I hear something, I say, "Oh bullshit! I want to do the opposite."
Mm-hmm.
Is that just my human brain making that thing, or is it?
We've
it
been
really
proved
based
right
on?
every time.
That's exactly.
We start back. What got me going down the rabbit hole, right, was on 9/11. They were doing a drill at the exact same time where there were planes, and this is not. You can go on YouTube right now. They were like, "Oh, we couldn't track the planes because there were all these planes loaded into the radar picture." So NORAD saw all these planes that weren't there, and they even said, "Is this real world extras?" No, it's real world. There's really a fucking hijacking. And they're like, there's a hijacking? We're doing a fucking drill of a fucking hijacking right now. What are the odds of that, right? Yeah. Then I discovered that during the original, Oklahoma City bombing, remember we blew up the Murrah building, the ATF had an office in the building, would have gone up with the building. They all received, the ATF agents all received a text, or a page, excuse me, they had pages.
A page back in the day?
Say, don't come to work today. Building blows up. What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
Boston bombing at the finish line. Bomb goes off. There's a drill going on.
Really?
What are the odds of that? Yeah. The 7/7 bombing in Britain. They were literally on the news, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we were doing a drill, and then there was a bus bombing," and the news anchor's like, "Wait, what? There was you guys were doing a drill, and then a bombing happened?" Yeah. Oh yeah, totally normal.
What a coincidence,
The
right?
reason why they do that is because if it doesn't work properly,
or somebody gets caught,
they throw it as a test. But it's almost two things. It's two simultaneous acts at the same time.
What did they do the day before the 9/11 towers got blown into?
Well, I know that there was a power down over the weekend.
Yeah.
And as I was telling him earlier, crazy, you can just look this up very simply. Head of security of the World Trade Center complex during 9/11 was George Bush's cousin.
Huh.
What are the odds of that? He's on the board of directors of the company that oversaw, well, how'd they describe it? Curbed is something like basically the moment you enter that area, you're now, they're protecting the whole area. Mm-hmm. What are the odds of that?
Right.
But, I mean, there's so many connections.
Look, I went to.
So it's just like not to cut you off though.
Yeah.
But it's just like the one with. Oh man, where was that? Is it Baltimore, where the AT&T building got blown up, like in the middle of the neighborhood?
Yeah, I know nothing about
that.
The
guy came out in
an RV,
like an RV, right?
And he had a recording. Please disperse, bomb going up. Please disperse, bomb. And somebody said the guy was terminally ill, and he had some girlfriend. I think he broke up with a long time. Yeah, something like that. That was kind of unusual.
So now with that one, they were saying that building. It belonged to somebody else before, but even though it was an AT&T building, that's where they held a lot of information.
Right. Yeah,
and that's why they bombed it, to get rid of the information.
Could be,
happens a lot.
Kind of
said with 9/11.
Not only that, but kind of like what's this dude's name? The antivirus guy.
McAfee, yeah.
McAfee.
So how is it that
he said don't take the
he
jab?
literally has a tattoo that says "I'm suicided. I'm not gonna be suicided."
Yeah.
So, but not only that though, he was saying that he had terabytes full of information in a building in Florida, and then what happens in Florida?
Right. A building collapse.
I've never. And then it was just super random. Like how is that? You know. Yeah. But that's just me.
I went to a client's home. Who he's an ex-FBI, he's an ex-Ranger from Army, and he essentially... Are you going back? Yeah. Oh, my God,
You're good, bro.
That's super professional, guys.
Shoot, we already went over the 45 minutes.
All right, so listen.
I was doing a second one, or we?
I know, right?
He essentially says this whole thing came down because of asbestos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That they had to knock down the Twin Towers because of asbestos. These are the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you kidding me?
Fact.
So what they did is, I forget the guy's name, but he put a huge stock option for a plane a terrorist plane hitting into the towers and knocking it down. How are they going to get away with this? Well, turns out the Pentagon and United States military are out $4 trillion and they can't account for it because they're fucking spending money, right?
Yeah.
People are paying each other and they're spending money, having a good time on our dime. Donald Rumsfeld comes out right before, like the day before 9/11, and says we don't have an account for that, and so they shoot a missile at the Pentagon, and they evacuated all that side of the Pentagon.
That's
and
true.
They did trainings on the Twin Towers the day before they went there, and they there was like a trip from Israel people. They think that's how they got the thermite. It was a thermite.
There were some Israeli art students that were in a loft up there, and they were painting the walls white like this, but it was thermite.
It was thermite paint.
And thermite is actually, it's explosive.
Yeah.
And then
Halliburton has a patent for that.
Right.
For
And
thermite paint. They
Right.
actually
Really?
have a patent for that.
Yeah.
Or a subsidiary of Halliburton.
Right.
Yeah, and it's Rumsfeld and Cheney,
Right.
of course. Yeah.
And they also said the way the building fell,
Yeah.
someone was towards the basement. They heard bombs going off.
Yeah.
So whenever you want to bring something down free fall, you got to have the base.
Yeah,
go
you got to
down
knock
first.
it's just
The
like
base.
when every time they knock out a building here in
Right.
Las Vegas,
Right.
anytime one of the casinos goes out, what does it do? It just implodes down.
Right,
like,
and that's
you know?
what and that almost went. It just didn't make sense, and also too, Trump was coming out when this is way before he was president, but he was saying there's no way a building like that can do it.
He knew.
Something was something.
Office fires.
Yeah.
My parents, all our parents believed and were told office fires
Right.
took down building 7. And whenever someone's like, "You're so," I can't believe you still believe that shit.
Right.
I say, "Okay, explain building number 7."
They don't know what that
and they don't
means.
even know what it is.
Yeah, they don't realize that.
because building number
Explain
7 came down
Yeah.
free fall,
Right.
and
Here's
it was
something
blocks
crazy.
away.
Here's
Had
something-
nothing to do with it.
And here's something crazy about Building 7. So, again, was not hit by the plane, was standing there fine. Nobody had any reason to believe that the building would fall. Yet on the news, with the building clearly in the background of the news shot, she's like,
BBC, BBC.
building 7 has collapsed. It's in the background. They had their time zones wrong.
Right.
And then the building came down.
Oh,
That's a fact. That is a fact.
That is a fact. You see, yep.
That is a
Really?
fact.
It's on
She
YouTube,
said
yeah.
buildings, and they're
Building
claiming
7, the Solomon Brothers, has collapsed. And it's in the background. It's right behind
Right.
her.
They
And-
took the gold out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the goal
Yeah,
out
there
was
was
one thing, but secondly, if you look at the way it collapsed, the roof
middle
pinched
goes
and
down.
went down,
And then,
and basically that's where a lot of files needed to be destroyed. There was gold in there, but they're claiming that the heat from the buildings, the two buildings, then debris is what made that go down, but that would not go free fall.
Yeah.
But and
Free fall,
Giuliani
that's
had
the point.
office, I think, in there.
Yeah, the emergency
and,
management.
and there's a couple things. So
there's a lot in Building
now,
7.
what I find interesting, because I got real deep into 9/11. Probably Loose Change is a great movie. Anyone wants to watch it on YouTube. But what they never talk about is how could that other plane, 93, go into the ground? No debris.
Right.
No debris.
There's no debris.
I remember watching that in high school, and
Right.
they rolled out the TV,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Where's
"Where's
the-
the plane?"
Yeah,
Right.
where's the plane?
Boy, planes.
And many people believe that plane was just hijacked, take to a military base, and those people
And,
were
okay,
eliminated.
the black
Because-
box.
And to go along with that, if you listen to some of the recordings of the passengers, you can hear them being coached in the back rooms. Saying, "Good job." Yeah.
And
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. And again,
Wait, this is Flight 93 or?
Yeah, 93.
one of the ones while they were in the air,
It dropped.
He said,
Supposedly.
and he said, let's roll. Remember, he said, it was
Yeah,
high
let's
tech,
roll. That turned out to be
And
fake.
what's
Yeah,
interesting
that
is
was
there was
propaganda.
one woman that was a reporter or something
Yeah.
on there. She was able to use her cell phone. You can never use a cell phone
Up that
in the
elevation.
area. So
Let me
how
tell
can
the
you
big one,
clear
the
normal
FBI
cell phone? Yeah.
Hold on, hold
FBI
on.
tells me that you cannot, at this time in our existence, 2001, from the ground, they can control every single plane out there.
Yeah.
Every single
Well, yeah,
plane
and in the
can
plane
be
itself,
controlled from ground.
there's an override in the plane
there's
itself.
no way
In the cab- in the-
that
in
you
the-
can be hijacked at this point in
passenger.
history.
Yeah.
They can control it
Yeah.
everywhere from the ground. They can land planes. These planes flew by themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's
you're
all
that guy,
ground
huh?
control. They can override everything
Yeah.
for terrorism.
Yeah. Well, but going back even into the 60s,
Yeah.
in Operation Northwoods, they talked about remote controlling military, painting up to look like passenger planes, remote controlling. The secret I've heard is that the planes, when they found the planes, they also found the black boxes. According to the official story, they never recovered the black boxes, but they found the black boxes. People that were actually
I didn't
there
hear that.
found it. Yeah. So the people say, oh, if it was an inside job, people would talk. They do talk. People talk about it all the time. Sybil Edmonds says she worked for Able Danger and they were monitoring the terrorists. She's like, guys, this is real world. And they did anyway. But anyway, when they looked at the planes and they analyzed them, the serial numbers don't match. Like almost like somebody Frankensteined a plane together. What they did was they put together. They went to that plane graveyard in, I think it's in Arizona, like Yuma, Arizona or something, and they pieced together planes. They actually took the pieces from there, made them into planes, and crashed.
Right, because if you look at the Pentagon video, it's so hard to really come up, but it looks like almost a missile and not a plane. And it looks like
the one that hit the Pentagon?
Yeah, no, the one that hit the Pentagon, right? And it looked like there was only maybe one window or so, and it flew so low, and it would be a plane would be so loud, everyone around it. And if this is the Pentagon, how the hell is that blurry video?
Yeah,
right. You're the Pentagon. You should have the most crystal clear.
Correct,
well,
but not only that. Not only that.
National security.
If it's the
like
Pentagon,
Oklahoma City.
It's supposed to be a secure location.
The most secure.
It's a military base.
White House, Pentagon, 1, 2.
So how is it that it did not have, like, what do they call it? The
anti-aircraft.
Anti-aircraft or the interfering.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I've seen the video that you're talking about.
The part that it hit was the
You
one
weren't
part
supposed to
that
see
was
that.
retrofitted.
Confiscated
They
across
upgraded
the
that
way.
part of the building
Really?
and hardened it. Yeah. So the part of the Pentagon that was hit, they actually hardened that part of the building.
Knowing it was
just before. I mean, and there's pre-knowledge. I always use the example of the X-Files spin-off, The Lone Gunman, which was a few months earlier. They talked about terrorists from Afghanistan hijacking a plane and crashing into the World Trade Center, and then 9/11 happened a few months later.
And there's a huge fire, horrible deaths, and they find almost pristine
the
passports from the pilots just on the ground. Like, I mean, pristine, like
untouched.
Perfect.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But all right, gentlemen. So we have reached an hour.
Okay. I'm having a great time.
Yeah, we have reached an hour here chatting.
Next time we'll do 2 hours.
Right? Next time we'll do 2 hours.
This
but
is great.
I know, man. We get to
If
talk
people
about
want to, I don't know, probably nobody's ever going to hear this. But if they want to hear other conspiracy theories, we can always talk about
Hell
shit.
yeah, man. We'll do another one later for more conspiracies. But all I got to say is thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for coming by. It's always fun. We should do another one soon.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you're still listening to now, I appreciate you. It's just give me a thumbs up.
Anybody got anything to plug?
Yeah, I know, right? Just give me a thumbs up on that.
We sell some.
And that's all I got to say.
702-524-3861.
Oh, yeah.
There you
If you
go.
need solar.
All right. Have a good day, guys. Take care.